Hello? Hello?
Kais, is that you?
Yes, it's Kai's on this
Yep.
cell phone.
All right.
I'm having a hard time clicking on that link for the
Refresh.
Zoom.
Yeah, refresh the page. I just dropped the correct link in the page. I didn't realize it wasn't a live link. That's my fault.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong?
It's not you.
Okay, good
I know
evening.
I know I'm not technology, efficient here, but
We got you guys. We got you.
oh good. At least somebody does.
Good evening, everyone. Call the regular meeting of the Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission to order. It is 7:04 p.m. on Monday, April 24th, 2023. We're here in the Merrill Sine Community Room and on Zoom. A reminder, please, that under citizens' comments or for our public hearing, we ask you to state your name and address for the record. Limit your comments to 3 minutes speaking time unless otherwise directed by the chair, and to please address your comments to the chair in a civil and respectful manner. I'll ask everyone to please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. We will begin with a roll call, and we'll start with Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Poplawski.
Mike Santos.
Ray Williams.
Jane Solcy.
Mike Krogel.
Al Van Hill.
Ms. Orr
Kai's or Levesque.
and Joseph Perotti Brown. We will seat Mr. Santos for Mr. Rice and Ms. Orr for Ms. Langweiss. Item 4. Public hearing, application 23-07, applicant Jason LaValle, 0 Riverside Road, corner of Riverside Road and Azud Road, map 67, block 53, lot 1H and 1G, zone TCCD, owner LaValle Construction LLC, Rich Road, North Riverdale, Connecticut. Special permit request for construction of multifamily dwellings under zoning regulations, Article 4E, Section 2, number 30. For the applicant.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Blanchett. I'm a licensed civil engineer. I work with J&D Civil Engineers at Thompson. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Jason LaValle. Quick show of hands, who's here for this? I want to set up where everyone can see my board. A little bit, all right, I'll do my best.
Go ahead and
Set it up where most people can see it. All right, so as the chairman said, we're here to have a public hearing for a special permit for multi-family dwellings. Specifically, the applicant is proposing to build 15 4-unit buildings, condos, townhomes, whatever you want to call them. Each unit will have 2 bedrooms, 2 stories, a garage, and a basement. Jason, you want to introduce yourself? real quick?
I'm Jason LaValle, 83 Rich Road. I've been in town for 22 years. I brought this property back in 2011 from Dave Volpe, and we cut up some other properties on it previously, and the remainder of the land. And we're proposing putting 60 units here. Seems like it complies with the area. It's close to the sewer plant. I think it's very desirable right there. So that's what we're working towards.
Great.
Yeah.
Before I get into the real meat and potatoes, I do want to say that we're not expecting a vote tonight. We don't have wetlands approval. We're expecting wetlands approval in May. And so it's my expectation to, introduce the project. I'll listen to any questions or comments that you have, and then hopefully we'll come back next month to close the public hearing and get a vote. The location of the property, it's right on Route 12 on the east side of Riverside Drive, right at the intersection of Azud Road. There's 2 lots that we're proposing to combine for this project. It's about 12 acres in total, and almost half of the lot is actually conservation. When the property was subdivided, there was a substantial donation to open space. About a little over 5 acres is already protected as conservation land. Now this property is zoned corridor development district, and multifamily uses are allowed via the special permit process. Previously, it was zoned in neighborhood commercial. Yeah, the lots were created about 12 years ago through the subdivision. Generally speaking, the land slopes down to the west. The sewage plant, the river is right across the street, across Route 12. Previously, a developer named Peter Venuto had proposed 140 units on this site. And so what we're proposing is quite a bit smaller than a previous proposal. The boundary survey. Again, this is estimated to be maybe a $15 million project. It seems very large, but it has been designed in phases. So the construction will happen slowly over a period of 5 years, 10 years, again, depending on how the economy is. And each individual phase, again, is fairly small. Each phase has its own stormwater and drainage system. And so the phasing will will go incrementally. And if something happens to the project, you know, if we just do 2 phases, that's fine. If we don't get to all the phases for whatever reason, the site will still function well. Construction proceeds in a logical manner, basically from the lowest elevation going up and over off the street. Again, so we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, again, working into the site.
Sorry, Jan, if you do those one more time.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, on the other side.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, see you over there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you.
No, of course.
While he's changing his pages, Randy Blackmer's entering in the Zoom room.
Thank you.
So Kevin, take that down for the time.
7-11.
So again, as I said, we're gonna start at the lowest portion of the site and work our way east and north. So we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and then phase 5. I'll show you a real quick, an architectural rendering of what the building will look like. Again, this is not the exact thing we're proposing, but it'll be very similar. We don't have full architectural plans, but it'll be very similar to this. Again, everyone has a 1-car garage, 2 bedrooms, about 13,000 square feet of area. Some of the units have a walkout basement, again, when it works with the grading. Jason's plan is to start them out as rental units, but potentially they could be sold as condos.
Still be 13,000 feet, not 13,000.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
1,300 square feet. Thank you. These aren't technically considered low income or affordable housing, but it will certainly be much cheaper than an equivalent single family home. There's not much of this type of housing available in Thompson. And so we feel it'll be a good asset to the community, again, for young couples fresh out of college, a great starter home, people just getting ready with the family. Again, we really have, Janet estimated we have 42 units of condos in Thompson. And so this would be more than doubling that option for housing. Putnam, Woodstock, and Killingly all have a lot more condos available. In terms of utilities, the site will be served by sewer. Again, the sewer plant's right across the street. We do have approval from the WPCA. We also have permission from the DOT. All of our stormwater is really tied into eventually the Route 12 drainage system. The DOT has reviewed and approved this. Again, I think April 4th. Yes, April's water letter was. So again, public sewer and private wells. We're proposing 3 wells on site. Each well will serve a number of buildings. For phase one, it'll be just a basic well. Eventually, Jason will have to apply for a public water supply company, and there's more testing requirements. There's more tanks involved to maintain pressure, that sort of thing. Again, that'll happen in a later phase. There's an existing Eversource easement running through the site. It's not being used. It hasn't been used for a long time. Right here again, here's the Eversource easement diagonaling through the property. And we do have emails back and forth with Eversource. We're going to relocate that easement, basically. We're going to relocate it around the buildings and to go up the street. Eversource is on board with that. In terms of parking, on average, there's 3 spaces per building, both in terms of the garage, a space in front of the garage, and some overflow parking around the site. There's 2 dumpsters. Another cool feature of this property is it's very close to the airline trail. You see the airline trail starts just north of the site. And so we are proposing a walking path that will connect out to the airline trail so that people have an opportunity for recreation, walking their dogs, things like that. Mailboxes will be centrally located. There will be a community water building, again, with tanks and monitoring equipment. In terms of stormwater, we have submitted the LID, the low impact development checklist. There's phased stormwater basins. Each phase has its own kind of drainage system. So again, if the project gets put on hold, everything will function well, it'll be stabilized. The runoff has been dispersed and not concentrated. There's a number of stormwater basins, infiltration basins that will provide treatment for the stormwater. Again, salt and sand coming off the road. We'll have plenty of treatment for the stormwater. There's also no increase in the net flow from the site. Although we're adding more impervious area with all the basins that we're proposing, there's enough storage, there's enough infiltration that we should actually be sending less water down to Route 12. Again, here's the phase 1 stormwater basin close to Riverside Drive, right near phase 1. Phase 2 stormwater basin for phase 2. Phase 3 stormwater basin on the southeast side. And then over here, phase 4, the stormwater basin. In terms of fire protection, we did have these plans reviewed and approved by the fire marshal. He asked us to put in a cistern. It's 10,000 gallons, I think, is what he requested. We have that cited. Town marshal seems okay. Fire marshal is on board. No sprinklers are needed for these type of units as per the building code. Again, so we have approval from DOT, WPCA. We have the Department of Public Works pending. We did incorporate Joe's comments. We're expecting his approval shortly, and also the fire marshal. In terms of wetlands, we've been to a number of wetland commission meetings. The commission has given us some comments, some suggestions. I think we've incorporated all their comments. I spoke with Marla this afternoon, and she indicated that approval is very likely at the next wetland meeting. In terms of the special permit decision criteria, the density of this use meets all the zoning regulations in terms of a potential for noise pollution, air pollution, smoke, dust. Again, we're meeting all that. Vehicular movements, pedestrian movements have all been designed to be safe, to be effective. Again, stormwater treatment system. We feel that the layout and the design of this is compatible with other nearby properties and their uses. I think that's really all I have. I think after that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Got rid of one building from our initial proposal.
Any questions from the commission at this time? Mr. Santos?
The electric right away runs through. Is that identified somewhere where the houses are located or?
Yeah, it is. So, if I'll call your attention to sheet 8. You'll see, this is probably the best way to see it. Here's the Eversource system. Again, running through the middle of the site here. So it's shown on several sheets, some on the boundary survey sheet. I have some more 11x17s if anyone needs an extra copy. Does anybody have a copy of it?
I don't have 8. I
Yeah,
have
for
7.
some reason it goes 7 to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Fine.
only have the odds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 1, 3, yeah, we have the odds.
I
And
didn't
then
pick up on
7
that.
skips to 11.
Yeah.
So you didn't bring your sheets from,
No, Cindy,
It was
this
in
is
the
from,
packet.
Packet.
yeah, the packet.
Our last packet had the same, had them all.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
supposed
I
to take
do have
them back.
this is, that's what I brought.
I forgot the one the other day.
From last.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for answering. Okay. Is this gonna be treated, well, let's just start with the bigger section, so the phasing. So the fire department looked at this. And are you gonna pave the street first? I'm assuming they're all private ways, but are you paving the whole thing first instead of? No, how do you get about around the buildings? How you gonna?
Okay, each phase will be paved, I believe. We're not gonna build the whole road to start.
Okay. So you'll do pave phase 1,
Yeah,
build the building.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then see how the economy is, see how things are going, okay, let's go forward with phase 2.
Yeah.
To a minimal, because if I pave the whole entire road, I have to do all the drainage system. It'd be-
Totally
And-
understand.
and
The fire
it's-
department's aware of that, so they can mobilize and get around.
And the system on phase 1, so that'll be built in the initial phase.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it's just over the line in phase 2.
Yeah, except for-
Beginning of phase 2.
So you're gonna build that first? Are you gonna build it when you do phase 1?
Phase-
And then put the system.
Phase 2 will be part of it.
It'll be part of phase 2. Yeah, phase 1 will be complete when we start phase 2, the cistern will be installed.
Okay, so you're just gonna pave from as it road on this back side for phase 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
sorry, did
Go right ahead, Jay.
Ms. Alcea?
Clarify the well situation, please. You said you're gonna put wells in first.
So the health code has requirements. After a certain number of units, you need to have what's called a public water supply company.
Yeah,
For phase 1, we don't have enough units. We can basically have a shared well.
okay,
There's not a lot of additional paperwork, testing, things like that. As we progress, we will need to be a community water supply. And at that point, so the initial well, phase 1 well is here. Phase 2 well here. I'm sorry, well number 1, well number 2, which is in phase 3. And then well number 4, well number 3, which is in phase 5.
okay. And then you said at some point you want to have public water supply, or did I misunderstand?
No. So it's not gonna be public water. It's gonna be, what's the exact, it's a shared. A public water supply company. Jason
Okay.
will have to basically make his own public water company to serve these units. And again, and there's gonna be a pump house here, right in the beginning of phase 3, that will have monitoring equipment, storage tanks to keep a constant pressure, that sort of thing.
Okay, and what is, you said at first you're going to do rentals.
Yeah,
What is the average cost? Have you come up with that yet? for the-
I'm thinking they're gonna be around $18,000 a month.
Okay, and then you said eventually they would probably be sold as condominiums?
I don't know, my goal is to rent it out for
Okay.
a long time, see
Okay.
how it goes, but I don't wanna corner myself, but if I. It'd be hard to sell a product if I'm 70 years old, you could sell each unit, so I don't have the ability to be able to sell them as condos.
Okay,
But my goal is to just rent them out,
okay,
see how things are going. So the community well system, like, that's very common, they have them over on Rogie Point Road on Quiet Lake. They have one.
Student Lane Center,
Oh, that's very common, when you go over 15 occupants, 15 dwellings, is that what it is? you go under a different category for a well system,
Okay,
so there has to be portable testing done.
Yeah, we've done the same
Yeah.
thing at the JRI, the Susan Wayne Center off of Church Street.
Yeah.
It's a school.
Yeah.
At a certain point, they had enough students where they had to make their own water company.
okay, okay,
And then it doesn't really take that much water to supply 60 condos. It's more about the surge. At one time, I was taking a shower.
Mhm.
So we'd have two wells in there, and then you'd have a big storage tank so it can handle the velocity,
okay.
on demand like that, but you don't need like one well to really have it recover.
Yeah,
You don't
theoretically,
need like 100 gallons a minute or something like that. It would just, one well, 10 gallons a minute would actually take care of it all.
Okay, thank you.
And these will be deep wells, not taken from surface water, they'll be down 300, 400, 500 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Santos, did you have more
It's okay.
question?
No, go ahead, Brian, go ahead, finish up.
These are all private ways, right? These are
Yeah.
gonna be private ways, so you're gonna maintain them.
Yeah.
Give me a visual phase one. I mean, this is a 10-year job,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's not,
yeah.
You're gonna phase one like completely, like I remember we talking about the roads and what they look like and stuff like that. I want a good visual phase
So
one's completion.
this is sheet 6, which is phase 1 and 2. And so the phase 1 line is here. So again, this is all phase 1. It's really one building.
There's 2 units.
Sorry, 2 buildings.
Two buildings.
One
Yeah.
group of buildings, one cluster of buildings. Phase 2 is here, which is 1, 2, 3 groups of buildings.
Yep.
Phase 3. I think that's probably the biggest phase. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of buildings. Phase 4. 1, 2, 3 buildings, and then the last phase, phase 5, also 3 groups of buildings.
And then Brian, were you asking about the road in those phases?
I just want to know, are you gonna like finish them off too? Put it on and finish them off, or are you gonna just leave it binder?
that's a good question. Yeah, if we're gonna be trampling the paving for a while there, I would say, let's just say like on phase 2. That is what, 3, 4 buildings, so maybe when the fourth building is finished, then I would talk about it. Because you're kind of get, you don't want to
Yeah.
get hanged up. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Williams?
I just want all the rest of the houses down around it, all public water, right?
On Route 12, yeah, I believe they all have.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I would definitely tie into it, but, from what I heard this a long time ago, there was a mechanics for a water company. That through this whole property I bought, and it was big, like a big holding tank up there and all these private wells. And, maybe someone know more than I do, he sounds like he's shaking his head, he knows, so I don't think, if they got contaminated. Did something happen, like, did they just, that it was dissolved or something, like financially, so everyone had to build private wells all on Mechanicsville?
I'm just wondering if with all these wells, is that gonna affect the other people's, what they have for wells?
That's what I'm here tonight. My name's Scott Wigglesworth. I'm at.
Oh, you're right next door, yeah, I mentioned that.
I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to the project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
if my level's in great shape right now, I don't
Yeah.
wanna.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you're doing this, but, you know, I'm 400 feet away, I guess Jan said, but still.
Yeah.
Give you a little scenario, there was a pump house behind my building. Still water coming out of it right now. This town has what, 5 wells up there? Does anybody know this? There's 5 wells up there that the town has that pump 10,000 gallons a minute. That's what I was told. It went down to this pump house. There's an 8-inch pipe at the Route 12. There's a
Yeah.
hole in the ground or whatever. But that's all I know. That's considerable ways away from what you're doing, but.
Yeah.
I'm just here to worry about runoff and if you got a blast, what happens? You know?
There's no ledge to blast, we'd be blasting with any for foundations. But I remember the well you talking about, I filled it with stone, I made that parking lot, remember I made that parking lot, yeah, so there was there's a lot of water that's available on that site, this comes out of the ground. So I don't know the answer to that. Affecting the other.
Yeah,
wells,
I would not expect any impacts. I mean, if you look at all the wells here, all the wells on Ballard Road, we're proposing 3 new wells. is already.
I'm more worried about like, it is bony behind me. So, I mean, if you had a big nugget there and you had to blast, what would happen if my well got changed?
I would say that we're 100% not blasting. If I hit some big rocks, we would spoil them and over the next way hammer it. Yeah, I did a lot of digging around here.
There is a pipe
Yeah.
at where you did the,
Yeah.
Unity, whatever you call
Parking lot there, yeah.
There is a pipe there, there's a hole in the ground. I let a guy know about it, it's still there, so, you know, could get a cover or whatever, but anyways, that's the only reason I was here, just to ask about that.
Anything else, Mr. Williams?
No, that's it.
Any, Mr. Poplawski?
So Daniel, and maybe this is a question for Janet or Jason, but, what is DPW, what are they talking about for, their review? Was there anything mentioned or?
I don't think Daniel was at the meeting. We had an on-site meeting, me and Janet and the director. And he had just asked if we would maybe direct small water off of Acid Road into Lakes.
Looks like there's a catch basin across the street, like from phase 4.
You wrote the email, so that, I thought that we kind of had the plan, I'm not really sure it's one.
Yeah, I'm just looking for, I know, didn't they ask you to improve some drainage here, some of the as
There's a cross right on, I'm on sheet 4, right at phase 1 driveway, just east of the phase 1 driveway. There's a 15. Is that going, is it between phase 2 and phase 1? Is that a catch basin?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Jason's gonna fix that.
And this case, both sides have to be, and then we're gonna pick up all this water coming out out of the stormwater area 3.
Okay.
So if we capture all this, it's gonna be brought down across the street.
I didn't know if any of the, you guys had mentioned, I just want to make sure the commission knew that, because we didn't have anything from John, from DLT, DPW, so.
Anything else, Mr.
Yeah,
Poplawski?
I can take up an email and.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Orr,
Yeah.
guys, you have your hand up?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Kai, sorry, we're losing your audio.
Fort Hill, yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Very, not, a little bit better now.
Yeah, you're coming in and out, guys. You're freezing up a lot.
Okay, well, hear me now?
Better now, yep.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so just my question, wondering, I have no problem with this, but the developer just wondering, I don't want to see a lot of acres taken, and if it can, I know it's only a few acres, but if it's compact, I sit on the Agriculture Commission, and I know this isn't farmland, it's not farmland, but, trying to preserve as much open space as possible is a concern. We have quite a few other things like these in Thompson, and do we need another one? So that's just my concern. There's quite a few houses that are vacant. Is there something else we can do versus this project? Oh, can you not hear me?
Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
got you
we can
guys,
hear you,
yeah.
Kai.
So, I
Okay,
mean,
sorry.
no, but Mr. Blanchett or Mr. LaValle, if you want
Yeah,
to.
it's 12 acres and over 5 are already protected with a permanent conservation easement. There's also a significant number of wetlands outside of the easement. We're not disturbing those wetlands either. So I think we've really made every attempt to keep the footprint, the limit of disturbance as tight as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. LaValle.
So as far as the market goes for demand, and there's hardly any houses for sale whatsoever. And I think last week there was like 5 on Zillow, now there's 7 in Thompson. There's probably 5 in Dudley, maybe 8. It's very little housing whatsoever in the area.
Thank you. Mr. Williams,
You were saying something about directing the water coming down as it, and you kind of pushed it off towards the other side of as it. Is that gonna flood that field out that they pay across the street from as it? Or across from this development?
So it's.
Right, oh, yeah, so the way that you said, you pointed that the water was gonna go this way.
It was kind of already going there already.
Yeah, eventually the
I guess we
water.
are adding to it.
I don't think so, because again, with all the storage here, even though we're increasing the amount of pervious area, all that water is gonna be captured here. A lot of it's gonna infiltrate, and then it'll spill out slowly to the west. It'll go slowly down Azit Road and across into that here. I don't believe there's a net increase in the amount of water. Let me give you an example. I can give you a cubic feet per second.
just if you could, and I'm sorry, if you could just, in the, it's just,
Ladies,
ma'am,
ladies.
ma'am, I'm sorry, it's just a little difficult for us to hear, sorry, my apologies.
So if I look at the Azid Road catch basin, currently under 100-year storm, we predict 3.8 cubic feet per second as the peak flow, again, for the biggest rainfall event. Proposing, we're bringing it down to 2.8. So it's less, the peak is gonna be smaller.
I was just going because the way you said the water was gonna go that way, and just didn't want to flood out somebody else's property.
Any other questions from, was that, Ms. St. Ange? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. In response to Ms. Orr, Levac, and her questioning, you know, the open space issue, et cetera. I live a quarter mile from this property. And I'm really excited because that piece of property is very lackluster. It's not a beautiful piece of property. This is going to do a lot to improve the entire community. If you live in the Mechanicsville area, this very much fits the multifamily houses that are along this stretch of road. And I'm excited to see this transpire. So I wanted to share my insight, not only as first selectman, but also as a resident of this Mechanicsville community. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. St. Ange. Mr. Hill?
Of course, I'm always interested in solar. Been any thought,
I haven't.
Given to-
that, no.
say ground mount, certainly not roof mount. I was thinking ground mount.
I haven't looked into any of that. I'd be the landlord, so I would probably, you know, I'd have to pay the common area electric bill, and it would be feasible. If it's feasible, I would be in favor of it.
I mean, there's enough area there to,
Yeah,
and you are pointing southwest.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Any other commissioners? Yeah, Mr. Bellavance. Just your name and address, please, for the record.
Jim Bellavance, 91A Riverside Drive, Thompson. I'm the second closest, my home. I got a few concerns. Right now in that little cluster, there's 7 houses. And they're all, most of them are duplexes. So all of a sudden we put all of these houses in. I'm very concerned about what's going on with the wells. I'm also concerned with us, all of these 7 houses losing their privacy behind the house. When it says the conservation area, what are they talking about? Are they talking about keeping the all the trees there, or are they talking about pulling them all out and just having grass there? I'm concerned about people just kids walking into our backyard, dirt bikes, this, that. I mean, you name it, it can happen. I'm plus on top of that, how many units is it all together? 60.
A maximum of 60.
All right, so every place has usually got 2 cars. So you got all this traffic going up and down, and from where my house is, the elevation is substantially higher behind my house. I'm just wondering which way, water's gonna flow. I mean, I'm concerned about those kind of things. I love that fact of the project. I just don't want to see something happen that all of a sudden I lose the privacy behind my house. I have a problem with my water, and I have a noise issue with the first driveway that goes up is, you know, really close to my house. So, I mean, you're constantly gonna have the headlights at night going in and out and whatnot, and I just want to make sure that the 7 houses that are in our little domain there are protected, and that maybe at some point in time, if they go and develop that area, I know it's not the first phase, from what I've heard tonight. I just don't know, some type of privacy fence to have it this way here. They can't go into everybody's backyards and stuff like that, and it'd be very easy to do. I mean, you know, I'm just concerned that we're gonna lose all of our privacy, I think, and the little that we have, and I'm concerned about the well. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Villanelle.
In terms of the conservation land, typically in Thompson, what it means is you can't put buildings, you can't cut trees. It really can't be used for anything except for passive recreation, things like hiking. And so there's a significant conservation area that again wraps all the way around those houses. So even if Jason wanted to, he is not allowed to touch those. Then going outside the conservation area, there's wetlands. You can't touch the wetlands either. So there's a natural buffer of, I'd say, at least 100 to 200 feet between these houses on Route 12 and any type of construction, whether it's a building, a stormwater system. Again, yeah, there's a pretty significant natural buffer.
Can I ask another question or no?
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
So, the other thing, you know, in thinking about this, you know, we have, you know, we have several other projects similar to this. You know, we have St. Joseph's School being, you know, done, and that's already a building built, you know, and Gladys Green, the residential area over there, I know it's an older people home, but, you know, is this gonna be young families? Is this gonna be older people? What, you know, what age group, I guess, and, you know, and I'm, you know, and hoping down the road that across the street from like the town hall, the library, that mill also will be, you know, done with residential homes. You know, how many more residential homes similar to this do we need in Thompson? We're a small community, you know, and that's what we're all about.
Thank you, Ms. Orr. Do we have any other questions?
Sorry, that was a lot of questions.
No, thank you. Do you want to, Mr. Ravali or Mr.?
I guess I can answer one of those. I guess there's no age restriction with this that we're proposing.
Okay, yeah, no, it's gonna be.
As far as the no-go, I don't know if they've gone any further with what they're doing, but I can't change my project or something that might happen on the other side of town. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the character of the unit will lend themselves either to people in their 20s just starting out, or people in their 50s and 60s looking to downsize. Again, they're all 2-bedroom houses. I wouldn't expect to see a lot of big families move into that.
And I am a landlord also in Putnam. I have like 15 units in Putnam. And so I know as soon as I put an apartment available for rent in Putnam, they're fighting over it. I'll have probably 30 people in a couple of days applying for these, you know, apartments. There is a major shortage of housing.
And I would just say too, Terry, when was it? 2.5, 3 years ago that we were, or 2.5 years ago that we were on that, we were doing that housing committee.
It seems like so long ago, but yes, it was accepted in the fall of 21.
Yeah, so I mean, and that was, you know, we were looking at sort of the largest sector of housing that we were missing is housing in this sort of in this description. So certainly sympathetic to questions about, is this housing needed? But I think, in my experience from my work on that commission, or not commission, rather, committee.
Working group. It was a
Working,
working
I'm
group.
sorry, working group. It is to me. No, thanks. Mr. Santos.
Oh, just one question, comment. So you had the buffer question
Yes, sir.
with the 200 feet. I just wanted Daniel or Jason to kind of outline the testing that you go through to make sure that the wells aren't going to take away from these 7 other properties, just to put the man's mind at ease that everything should be okay with that. 5,000 gallons a minute is
10
10.
10 gallons
10
per
gallons.
minute. Yeah, most typical residential wells are between 5 and 10 gallons per minute. And as we said, we really only need 1 new well to meet the demand. We're proposing 3, they might not all get built. What did Janet say? She's the whole thing about aquifers. Shared wells are allowed if you have less than 25 people. So again, phase 1 is not quite up to that. Yeah, you'll need a public water supply with water treatment softeners.
There's just a lot of people pulling water out of these gutters in a very small area. And all the, if anybody's been up Azure Road, it's a steady climb going up. So, I'm just really concerned about that. Because what if all of a sudden we have water issues?
First, and then I'll go to you.
Okay, I want to address this,
Yeah.
this situation.
Same thing I would worry
Yeah.
Okay,
Janet, to kind of maybe help bring a little bit more light to that, so people feel a little bit
I
more
mean, if we had,
comfortable. Maybe in the
if city water went by I'd buy that, no problem.
Yeah.
But if we're dealing with individual wells,
I guess maybe we could do some more research and come back next month with Janet's gonna, we'll continue the public hearing at that time, again, come back and answer some questions.
Exactly. I think
We had a whole thing that we talked about it and I can't really.
again, in this region, I don't think depleting an aquifer is usually a concern. It's not like we're out in California or Utah. The aquifers are very robust. They have a huge amount of water available. But I'll try to come back next month with something more concrete for you.
Ms. Clark.
Valerie Clark, Alm Road, 105 Alm Road. And I have a comment and a question. My comment is that I take exception to this being characterized as an unattractive property. I was on the site walk, and this is a lovely piece of property. There are a couple of sections where there was some dumping, and where perhaps down near the street, there's some sloping that's exposed. But other than that, this is a lovely piece of property. My question, when I did the site walk with the various commissions, there is a significant drop off to the wetlands area. And I'm interested in finding out what's going to be done for safety to keep children, pets, trash from falling over that edge into the wetlands area.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
So I think the area that she's referring to is right here. It's kind of right in the beginning of phase 4. You see there is a fairly steep slope down to the wetlands. We're not currently proposing any kind of fences or anything. There will be a natural vegetated buffer. Again, you can see that our work is going to stop here. And so there's something like, 50 feet at least of forest before you get to that steep slope. And it drops. Like I said, it goes from 374 to 358. So it's fairly steep, but it's not a cliff. It's not hundreds of feet that we're losing.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchard. Ms. Saltzman.
I just wanted to address your problem with the water. You said these wells are gonna be down 300, 350 feet. There is a slope there, so the water naturally is flowing down. I'm speaking from personal experience from where I live. I had a dump well when I first moved in. a month after I moved in, it went dry, should have told me something. But I had to have another well put in. And I am the lowest house in the development, went down 400, actually over 500 feet. They had to break through a shale bed. That was a little discerning because I was in the house when they broke through that shale bed. But the water that goes down, gravity, you've got the gravity there. So I'm just trying to put your mind at ease because I don't think you're gonna have a problem with losing your water because all the other wells are gonna be put in. There's such a drainage system in there naturally, aside from everything that they're gonna do, that from personal experience, I don't believe that you will have a problem with that. And because they're going down so deeply. There's underground rivers in this town. That's what I ended up hitting. I actually was classified as a community well because I pump over 200 gallons a minute. So I think you're gonna be safe.
She forgot to turn the timer on.
Oh,
Thank you, Ms. Halsey. Any other questions or comments?
Nobody else.
Sir,
Yes, I live on Ballard Road. We're gonna butt this,
and I'm sorry, and just your name, please.
Dennis Ferrioli.
Thank you.
I've heard two things, rentals and condos. Condos are one thing. Get responsible homeowners have those. I was in the service business in Springfield, Massachusetts area for 30 years. And a lot of these rentals, you get some characters in there. And they were in there with ATVs and everything else. This gentleman suggested a fence, a barrier, which is not a bad idea to keep this type of traffic out of there. I don't mind foot traffic, kids going through the woods, but you know, I see these ATVs and everything and motorbikes and whatnot, you know. I'd be more comfortable if there was some sort of a barrier there.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrioli. Thank you. Mr. Willoughby.
I really think you should think about the barriers, about the fencing. You know, if you had a 6-foot, you know, privacy, you know, the plastic ones. And it all go all along the border. It's going to deter people from going on the other side of town. And I think a lot of people would feel that live in the area would feel a lot more comfortable if they had some kind of because it's true. If you rent out, you never know who's gonna come into your home. And you can have a lot of big problems, and trying to get people out of a house today through the courts is quite an issue. So condos would be better. I love they're beautiful. I mean, I'm not saying they're not. I just don't want to get screwed out of this deal.
Thank you, Mr. Willoughby. Mr. LaValle.
I could probably answer some of this question about the fence. So that is a vernal pool, and we had to have a whole study done about what type of animals are in that, and there's like a review area where they have to travel. If you start putting up a fence or anything that they can't get through that barrier. You know, so I don't know how we would do that. The whole point of having a conservation area is that nature and so it passes through. I can't see putting a fence right at the edge of the conservation area versus the developable area. I don't know if that's feasible, how that would work. So half the property is almost conservation land, so it kind of takes away from the people that would want to live there, why they want to be staying on a white fence when they could have the forestry there. So I'd be happy to put something up, but we have to be careful of animals that migrate. There's a large conservation that goes all the way up to Ballard Road, you know, like that was designed to do this.
And that's something you could address with Marla.
Yeah.
With the conservation to see.
I mean, you could do like a split rail fence or something just to block. I can't imagine dirt bikes would be over there, but
I can't,
you know,
because I had them where I live.
Yeah, so maybe.
They have a path, and you're gonna put 60 families in there. Believe me, there's gonna be some kids in there with dirt bikes.
Yeah, Ms. Halsey.
the area that is abutting the trails that are in there. Is there a problem with dirt bikes in there now or anything that is?
The airline trail, you mean?
Yeah, the airline trail.
Oh, I see them here and there.
They are in there, okay.
They go by my house. They go in the woods, like right behind my house.
Okay,
And they've some of my neighbors have caught people kids making fires
Fires,
out
yeah.
there in a fire pit and whatnot. and beer bottles and you name it, and four-wheelers, ATVs, and we're not talking more than 50 yards behind my house.
Because you can call the state police on that.
I'm sorry?
You call the state police. I called the local police in Putnam when they go in my backyard.
Most of the time we find out
After.
after the fact,
I can hear them.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, well,
those
so
are
it's
the kind of things that go on with rentals. I mean,
a good suggestion from Ms. Dunn to talk with Ms. Butts about that and see if there's anything maybe that. Mr. Santos and then Mr. Poplawski.
We do not get involved in rental agreements, but can you put an exclusion in the rental agreement for, no dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and have a penalty or something along those lines? Just food for thought, we won't get involved in rental agreements, but.
Yeah. Mr. Poplawski.
I'm just struggling. I can understand the ask for the fence. The conservation, I mean, we have asked for conservation area,
Mhm.
access and for people to be able to use the conservation area. So where do we put a fence? Do we put it next to the current homeowners? Do we
Yeah.
put it next to the new homeowners? Obviously you can't put it in the middle. It's like a no-win with a fence. That's my input. I mean, you can't.
well, the other thing
Yeah,
you
you
could
can't
possibly
please everybody.
You can't,
No.
and it's not, I think that from my perception of what it looks like, and I wasn't on the sidewalk, but looking at 3 acres. And I think it's like 3 acres of conservation in between the homes.
5 acres, wasn't it?
It's a little over 5 acres total.
So I mean, that's a pretty big parcel of conservation land to have there. And I'll just make a comment about the wells real quickly. I mean, you look at any of the high densely populated areas, schoolhouse, aquatic, you've got houses on top of houses, everybody's got wells, well, so I'm not concerned about the wells. I think that, the aquifer, as Jane mentioned, can sustain it. I can appreciate your concern. But that's just my input. I think that, looking at the whole proposal, I think there was a lot of due diligence done. I like the engagement between the DPW, inland wetlands, us, everything that went on. I think this is a great proposal, so.
Mr. Warner.
Bill Warner, Lowell Davis Road. I went on the site walk with the inland wetlands. And there is a place that you could put a fence that would be helpful, and that is between the buildings, south of the buildings, in between that and the wetlands. Along that conservation, because you do have a fairly high steep hill there. And if you put a fence along there, and that would keep a lot of trash or stuff getting blown down into the wetlands. It would also give the houses down on Riverside Drive some privacy. Because people standing up there can look down into the back of their houses.
Thank you, Mr. Warner.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Jason or Daniel, could you just, this is the original iteration of the plan with the walking path, right? Could you show where you propose to relocate that?
Yes. So, again, here's the site, here's the airline trail. Our initial proposal was to have a walking path. Again, right here goes through the conservation land. It goes right behind these buildings in phase 4 and comes out to the road. The Wetland Commission wasn't happy with that. They asked us to move it further away from the wetlands. There was a concern with really dog walking, dog feces potentially going into the wetlands. And so what we're proposing to do is actually make it come right off the end here. So the walking trail, the new walking trail will come in. It'll be a little bit shorter. It won't be behind these buildings. It'll be farther away from any of the wetlands or the drainage structures.
Thank you, Mr. Blanchett. Any other questions, Mr. Relevance? I don't know.
as far as this fence goes, you mind if I just point something on here so you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. No, okay. So he just made this mark up here. Here's the question is just right here. So if you had a fence go like this down into the wall, that's all. You don't need any fencing over here. You don't need any fencing over there. It's just this area so that these homes are protected and have a little bit of assurance of privacy, that's all. I'm not talking about the whole thing at all, just this area right here.
So this is the rural full road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Maybe we could go fence and leave it off the ground, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, it could be those,
Yeah. I don't
what do
know.
they call those green, they grow real fast.
Aprovites.
Arborvitae's or something like that. Just to keep it so it's.
yeah, so I think conversation with Ms. Butt's, conversation with conservation.
So-
Yeah, that's the problem.
The trees, if they made a natural fencing, a natural barrier.
Well, right, and that's why I would suggest
Yeah.
talking to, again, wetlands and
barrier.
conservation and figuring out what would be appropriate.
So I don't know if I can build, I can freeze a forest, I don't think I'm allowed to.
Right.
I don't know, maybe allowed to put a fence in the conservation area, because it's a whole, like this, or there's language in that.
Yeah, I don't have to read in front of me.
So I don't even know if I could do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'd go down that avenue for sure.
Okay,
definitely,
yeah. Thank you.
so there are no further questions or comments, Mr. Yeah, Mr.
There's 12 acres of construction, is that correct?
12 acres is the total
Correct.
land,
Yeah,
5 of which is conservation.
exactly.
So there's 7 where the buildings are gonna be.
And then some of the wetlands cuts into the remainder of it, is that
Yeah,
right?
so the actual construction, I think, is somewhere around 4 to 5 acres. The site is 12 acres, 5.5 are in conservation. There's also land in wetland that we can't touch. So the total area of disturbance is something like 4 acres, maybe 5 acres.
We'll get that correct answer.
Yeah, I could bring that answer to the next
Total acre.
meeting, the total acres of construction.
Be a problem.
Any other questions or comments?
The only comment I want to make is, in my very short memo this month. I sent you, I think in the application, that he is providing electrical charges in every single apartment.
Yeah.
So it complies with that state statute, so he does not need charging saving.
Thank you. With that, I would move to continue this public hearing to our next regular meeting on Monday, May 22nd, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Seconded by Ms. Salsi. Any discussion at the motion?
Oh, I had something to say before you made that motion. I don't have it in front of me. I can't find it, but there was a letter from the karate place down the street. She owns that business and the business next door to it. And she was concerned about what if it was going to do anything to her business, but she's out of the country, so she couldn't be here tonight. I did try calling her, but she didn't answer, so I figured because she's out of the country. But it didn't seem that now that you're extending it, I will let her know that you're
Yeah,
extending it.
thank you. Ms. Hearing no further discussion, a yes vote will continue the public hearing, a no vote will take some other action. Mr. Hill.
Elvin Hill, yes.
Mike Ogle, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Brian Santos, yes.
Dave Paplowski, yes.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levesque, yes.
Mr. Blackburn,
Randy Blackmore, yes.
and Joseph Brody Brown, yes. Thank you.
Randy was there.
All right, thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Mr.
We'll see you
Williams.
next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Application 23-08, Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission of 815 Riverside Drive, amendment zoning regulations, format change, codification. So this is to simply change the order of elements of our zoning regulations to better align with the online codification project. To review, we had discussed this in principle earlier.
I'm sure that's gonna happen.
And so, but by law, as we are amending technically our regulations, we must have a, yeah, so.
We have to do it legally.
Yes, is there any discussion from the commission at this time?
No.
Any questions or comments from the public?
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mr. Poplawski, seconded by Mr. Williams to close public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes vote will close the public hearing. A no vote will take some other action. Yes.
Let's go that way first.
Mr. Hill,
Have a good night.
yeah, Mr. Krogel.
Mike Vogel, yes.
Something, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
I said this, yeah.
Dave Plowski, yes.
Ms. Orr,
You're on mute still, Kais.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Joseph Prody Brown, yes. Ms. Orr, would you like to register a vote? Okay, we'll consider that an abstention. That was to close public hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing is
Yes.
closed. Thank you.
Right in the flood.
Okay, Ida, application 23-11, Town of Thompson, 815 Riverside Drive, North Grosvenor, Connecticut. Acceptance of amended subdivision regulations for the Town of Thompson for a public hearing. I will turn first to the planner to discuss.
Not acceptance for opening the. We've
Yeah, I'm
already
sorry.
accepted for public hearing.
Did I say accept? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
you did.
Yes, the public hearing is open.
Yeah.
Welcome. We've opened it. Ms. Pence.
Okay, as I had promised you, I would, well, promise the public and you, I left the open comment period for email comments through the end of day today. I did not receive any additional emailed comments. The only email comments I received are what you have. So that was a page from Alvin, who found some language errors. Thank you very much. An extension of the concern she had previously on one of the items from Marla, which at my request, she put into an email form so that I could forward it to Attorney Roberts, and then Attorney Roberts' response to that. Now, if you guys want, I will read all of that as a part of the public comment. Because they are not from the general public, I feel you can consider them to be correspondence. And I will just say that between Attorney Roberts and Marla's, it is 9 pages long. I will read it if you want, but you guys had that over the weekend. So, and
I read it.
Yeah, staff and attorney, I think you can consider correspondence. And no additional. Other than that, I think you guys have been very, very thorough in your process. Something I thought was going to take 6 months because I didn't think the document was that bad. It turned out to be 1.5 years, and I think your input has been great. My feeling is that you had good consensus when we finalized that draft, so I feel like you guys are ready to move forward, but you know, at this point, we've discussed it internally a great deal, and again, nothing received from the public via email to share.
Should we have a discussion on Marla versus the attorney?
If you want to, you certainly,
Not personally, I mean,
Yeah.
the attorney laid out exactly why,
copiously, yes.
very much.
Great detail.
Yeah, it is.
I don't
Anyone feel we need further discussion? on
think so.
that?
I mean, I was happy to have all that statutory reference, because when Marla asked the question to me, you know, of what the rationale was, we had the discussion memo, which was just sort of the result. A lot of that conversation happened back and forth on a phone call, so it would have been me paraphrasing. I wouldn't have wanted to handle that. So I'm grateful that we have it. And he did say that he shared it with his colleagues and they all concurred essentially with the same thing that you guys had thought, which was that the detail that was being taken out there was too prescriptive and too much. And so I would say that the attorney's inclination matches your own inclination in this case.
Mr. Williams.
The only thing that, when Marlo was bringing up what happens if an association dissolves. I didn't see where that would be covered in the attorney's, paperwork.
I believe you are right, Ray. I don't think it was addressed.
That's the only part that stuck out to me on that.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer for that. I mean, my feeling is that the whole thing has been pretty thorough. And my feeling is that as a part of reviewing the association documents, that is something that, you know, the commissioner, the attorney can call out. What is the remedy if, so it would be a part of the document more than the regulations, just as we've taken all that other sort of very prescriptive stuff about what has to be in there.
Right.
That's my inclination. I can't say that that's correct.
The
but that makes
creation of the
sense.
covenant would include a mechanism for dissolution and resolution to dissolution.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it has to be part of those, like, those guidelines, those state guidelines we were talking about referencing.
Yeah, I didn't read every state guide.
That's why we
All right.
avoided that. Right? But we're not in the business of writing, you know, what
Right.
that document looks like, but I'm assuming it's probably within there.
And we've indicated that those are all pass-through costs too. So there's no risk to the town of getting embroiled in thousands of dollars of lawyer fees. It's, here's your bill for what the time that we and our attorney took to make sure this was an acceptable document.
For us, just to kind of conclude on that, that's why we added that. The town is indemnified, and waived
Right,
their
everyone,
rights
yeah,
on all that, I added that.
Yep.
So we don't have to deal, if it goes, if it dissolves, it's still not on our bill.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Santos. Mr. Hill.
I would just like the commission to look at page 41 in my,
Mhm.
did you find anything? I mean, the minimum pipe size should be minimum pipe diameter.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, that was one of your,
one of my comments.
Mhm.
yes, so I guess I would say in the motion, when somebody gets to making the motion, I would just say with the language amendment suggested in Alvin's memo, and
Yeah.
that'll cover it, that's fine.
Yeah, when we're discussing possible action. Okay. Certainly, any other, you could just move
Go.
to where I can see the
Sorry.
people. Any other comments or questions during this public hearing?
That was a good column page, anyone? Shall not interfere. Opposed to Megan. Good
You
call.
can always count on Alvin to catch a good shall versus no. Great, so hearing no other comment. I move public hearing be closed.
Second.
Motion made by the chair, seconded by Mr. Santos. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes vote will close public hearing, a no vote will take other action. Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Kapowski, yes.
That's it, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salsa, yes.
Mike Ogle, yes.
Alvin Hill, yeah.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levak, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Joseph Prody Brown, yes. Public hearing is closed. Item 5, discuss public hearing and possible action. Application 23-07 remains open. Application 23-08, Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission of 815 Riverside Drive, amendment zoning regulations format change for codification.
Make the motion to
Approved,
approve,
we've already accepted.
approve PZC 23-08.
Motion made by Mr. Poplawski to approve application 23-08,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Santos. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes vote approves application 23-08, a no vote denies. Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mike Ogle, yes.
Jane Salsa, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Frank Santos, yeah.
Dave Kapowski, yes.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levak, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
Joseph Perotti Brown, yes. Application 23-08 is approved.
Renee will be thrilled.
Application, I'm sure she will be. Application 23-11, Town of Thompson, 815 Riverside Drive, North Grosvenor, Connecticut. Acceptance of amended subdivision regulations for the Town of Thompson for a public hearing.
Motion to approve PZC 23-11. I'm just gonna say as amended. Is that okay?
I think you should
I
be
think you have
specific
to
about.
reference
Specific?
This,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Help me on the clock.
You're gonna put as amended, right?
Well, and including,
As amended, including. Should I just say Alvin Hill's recommendations?
Yeah,
Yes.
but the language edits included in the memo from Alvin Hill to the commission.
Does that sound, you got that?
Was that?
yeah, he'll get it on the recording.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Mr. Santos to approve application 23-11 with the language edits made or suggested in the memo by Mr. Hill,
I'll second that.
seconded by Ms. Salsi. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I guess we'll approve, including the edits.
Just one quick.
Yeah, Mr. Santos.
Sorry.
No, my apologies.
Effective date on that?
It's
15 days
by
after.
statute.
Following today,
Very good.
yeah,
15 days following publication.
following publication. So the publication date would be,
Not this Friday, but the following Friday.
okay, so 15,
The deadline's gone.
okay.
Doesn't have to be.
It is, yeah, it's all part of the statute.
Figure it out.
So, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, a yes will approve with edits, a no will deny. Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Kupowski, yes.
Brian Santos here.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Mike Vogel, yes.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levesque, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
and Joseph Perotti Brown, yes. Item 6, citizens' comments. Again, if you're in the Zoom room and wish to make a comment, indicate by raising your hand or unmuting. I see none in the room and I see none on Zoom. I feel like Dr. Seuss. Item 7, applications received, application 23-14, Rainey and Lynn Moran of 130 Pompeo Road, representing certified petition signers to request designation of Pompeo Road as a scenic road according to Town of Thompson Ordinance number 10-042, the designation of scenic roads.
Make a motion to accept for public hearing P and Z 23-14 application
second that.
for scenic road on Pompeo
On what date?
on May 22nd.
Thank you. A motion made by Mr. Pavelski to accept application 23-14 for public hearing at our next regular meeting on May 22nd, 2023 at 7 p.m. Seconded by Mr. Hill. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, yes will accept for public hearing, no will take another action. Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mike Vogel, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Brian Santos here.
Dave Kupowski, yes.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levesque, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
and Joseph Perotti Brown, yes. Item 8, applications received after agenda.
Nothing.
Item 9, old business, there is none. Item 10, new business, there is none.
Oh, old, didn't I put something in there to old business?
No,
No, you didn't.
no, you didn't.
Oh,
You didn't get time to do it.
You can address it during your memo if you need to, Ms.
maybe I
Dunn.
put my memo.
Yeah, you said it was on the memo.
Okay, thanks.
Item 11, approval of planning and zoning commission minutes. Item A, Monday, March 27th, 2023. We received those in our packet. Where are they? They're right here.
Too much stuff going on here.
And move the acceptance of the March 27th, 2023 minutes as submitted,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Santos. Discussion on the motion, Mr. Williams.
It's kind of nitpicking, but we got a thing on number 5. It's about Mr. Poplawski's about the site work, a walk. That was me that brought that up. And so I'd like to have that there changed, because he brought up about the second site walk with the people from the town hall.
Or the staff meeting.
Want to be included, yeah. Right, staff meeting. I was thinking I couldn't spit that out.
It's okay.
And the
It's
second,
in there.
and the second thing is, for the meeting that we're having on Wednesday,
Mhm.
I wasn't put in on that there, and I said that I wanted to be
Right.
on that committee.
And I did
You did
include you
get
in
the
the email,
materials,
right?
though,
Yes, you
Yeah,
did,
okay.
but it wasn't in the minutes,
Yeah,
so I just
yeah.
wanted to have them two things fixed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Williams. I will amend my motion to
My name ends up on that?
include those amendments,
No,
and also to add Mr. Krogel as in that list of members who are interested in the committee.
I'll second that motion.
So actually, I amended my original motion, so Mr.
I'll amend mine.
Oh, okay.
Will second as amended. Thank you for those, Ray. I had seen those and forgot about them by the time I got here. So thank you for that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes will approve with amendments. Mr. Poplawski.
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Frank Pinto, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
James also, yes.
Mike Douglas, yes.
Melvin Hill, yes.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levesque, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer, yes.
and Joseph Brody Brown, yes.
Guys, what does Adeline vote?
Can she vote yet?
I don't think she's been.
She hasn't been elected yet.
She's sleeping.
Item 11B would be the special meeting of March 5th, 2023. Yes, yeah, April 5th. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a very Monday for me. Yeah, so that is 11B is the special meeting of April 5th, 2023. My apologies. Thank you, Mr. Santos. I will move the acceptance of the minutes as submitted.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Poplawski. Any discussion? I will just share my appreciation for Tira refers to quote, a thing we had in strikeout, end quote. I'm glad we got that direct quote in there. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes vote will approve or approve the minutes as submitted, a no vote will not. Mr. Hill.
Calvin Hill, yes.
Mr. Krogel.
Mike Douglas abstained.
James also, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Brian Santos abstained and was not present.
Dave Poplawski, yes.
Ms. Orr,
Kaiser Levesque, yes.
Mr. Blackmer,
Randy Blackmer abstained.
and Joseph Brody Brown, yes. Those minutes are approved. Item 12, reports of officers and staff, 12A budget report, Mr. Poplawski.
I had a budget report that I definitely reviewed and put notes on, but can't find it at this point. There was no expenditures, I can tell you that, it was zero.
Zero expenditures?
Well, just out of the publications, all the other stuff, you got paid. You saw it. Everyone
How
but
about you?
you.
Did you get paid?
I don't get paid out of that
Oh,
budget.
there you go, okay.
I know Cindy got paid, I think Kevin got some money out of it, that's all, that's it.
Did you happen to check your publication
We
line?
got nothing. Yeah,
That's zeroed out. Okay.
yeah, we got,
So I'm looking
you're
at
gonna
this-
bring that up, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
looking at this budget and I guess I'm just not paying attention to the budget because it's, again, administrative, it's really not my job. But I was looking for the line item for the secretary for special meeting. And I don't see that. When I first came here, I always thought that was in the budget. I don't see it. I do see that our balance is 858 as to March 30th, so that's definitely not enough to see our secretary through the end of the year.
Well, the secretary is the second line. I apologize.
No, the secretary is the first line, planning and zoning, 4,495. I'm the second.
Oh, you're the second, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
so there-
secretary's first.
So the reason why I was looking for it, because I was gonna ask, but I can come to this, I'm not gonna ask now. On that application for the scenic road, the office has to send out the notice letters. That is in the instructions. I had made a mistake last time, we corrected it. But that is a lot of work. And so it's actually going to be up to me now to do it. And it's gonna take away from, obviously hours that I need to take care of matters in the office. So I was gonna ask you guys if I could have some money out of the special meetings, but I guess there isn't. I was gonna take extra time into it, but I
I
guess
don't
there
think
isn't any
there
money
is.
there to do that.
I mean, I just took it over in November when you guys did
Yeah.
it for me, so
Yeah,
don't shoot the
I
messenger here.
was not paying attention to it last year.
They probably rolled it back in under one line. And who knows
Well,
when.
no, if you take, well, I can tell you if they did that, we're not running late here, so we got a minute here, guys. I get the calculator here, and I can tell you, oh my God, phones, I hate them.
Oh.
Calculator, okay, so 4495.00 divided by 12. $374, so we did not put extra money in there for extra meetings.
So for whatever it's worth, if we run out of secretarial money before the end of the fiscal year. If you do those things, the notices, I can always take minutes. I hate taking minutes, but I'm the one who does the recording, so I can come in and do them.
We could go over, I mean, he's gotta get paid. I mean,
Here's the
we
budget.
need a recording secretary.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna, do the packets for nothing.
Look at the Board of Finance meeting when you reviewed the fees. Didn't expect the meeting to come here.
That was, but for. next
Yeah,
year.
For next year.
yeah.
That's next year's.
I realize that.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
that come
No,
up?
I don't,
I believe it did.
yeah,
For
know.
next year.
for next year I
I
did.
hope so, okay.
This
good.
wasn't mine.
Oh, good. No, we'll find somewhere in the budget to finish paying off the recording secretary to June, but. So I guess I will take time out of my hours out of my time to take care of our public to do those letters.
Well, I'm just thinking off quick here, but Gloria has been gone for what, 4 or 5 meetings where we
3
didn't,
meetings. I
we
think.
didn't encumber any salary from her, so there's,
No, I got paid for the first month. The month
Oh.
I did it, I got paid.
so what about the other 2?
Well, Kevin, he got paid for March.
And I
he's
did
getting
one.
paid for April.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I got paid, because I put extra hours in.
yeah,
So I got.
but
paid.
what did you, so it came out of your budget line, not out of the.
No, what had happened is, I only actually got paid less $50, I got paid what, $334. Because Gloria had done some extra work for me, and we gave her $50 for it, so I got paid $334.
Bless you. Yeah, I don't, yeah, I mean, I don't see that detail when it, within the report,
Yeah,
who gets,
that sticks in my head.
yeah.
But, whatever, I'll just do
Unless
it.
anybody wants to volunteer to help you, I mean, we're always looking for volunteers for. The mailings or.
Okay, well. Kara's there next office.
I am there in the next office, yes.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Poplawski? Okay, thanks, Dave. 12B planner.
So just dovetailing onto the fact that you guys don't have any money. I did check in my office budget for those books that
UConn.
that was published by UConn. It's called What is Legally Required. Looks like a good publication. They are $35 each. I have in my office budget, $450, not under publication, but under office supplies. I think that's close enough for horseshoes, and certainly would be willing to order those on behalf of the commission for any commission members who want them.
What is the update on it? Is that legally required? Is that exactly what it's saying, legally required?
Give me a second.
What's the edition date on it? And I should have looked at it, but I.
The 8th edition of Mike Zizka's
Yeah.
What's Legally Required, a guide to the legal rules for making local land use decisions in the
what
state
year?
of Connecticut.
What year does it say? I just want to see something. I have a copy in here.
It looks like, it's like a
I
good
think this is
publication.
a brand new edition, but
They
see
were
if this will
promoting it
actually-
like one for sure.
Yeah,
What's the last name?
Zizka.
Zizka.
Okay. Oh, so, okay, so that's the 8th edition, so that's the updated one, this is the edition.
Yeah, the latest
great.
8th
Okay.
edition. So happy to make that purchase for the commissioner members, the commission members who want them. Up to, I mean, I can order up to 10, no problem. I don't know if there's, but the shipping or, well, it wouldn't be taxable.
Well, we should have one in the office.
I would like one.
Okay, so yeah, we
Okay,
could just,
show of hands on this
Oh.
one.
well, if we're gonna do it in 2 phases, I'll wait till the next round.
What?
The next budget comes out.
eighth
The eighth.
edition, it's it's the
I'll
most
wait till the
recent
next
edition.
round too.
Yeah, budget comes out in July, so I mean,
It's
not to
the eighth
exhaust what
edition.
you got. If you have enough,
It's the 8th edition, this is the 7th.
I'm not gonna wait. I want mine now.
Okay, one more time.
Well, I mean, why don't
Show
why
of
don't you
hands
get,
for me.
take it,
Just give it a quantity.
yeah, get 8 for now.
Okay, I'll get 8.
Keep one for the office.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm gonna do a second round.
yeah, we'll
Okay,
next
fair
fiscal
enough.
year.
do a gladiator
They'll run out.
fight
I doubt it.
for the.
Brand new
first.
publication,
Okay.
not a bestseller yet.
Done.
And
I'll order 'em tomorrow.
discussion of properties needing zone adjustments.
Okay, so this is the last piece of all the work that we've been doing for the last 4 years to update all of the zoning. We know that we've known when we updated the map, that we missed some properties that should have been put into the common residential district. Essentially my fault because I was working harder, not smarter. I looked at every single parcel on the parcel map system instead of doing the really smart thing, which would have been to ask for the sewer bills. So I have since gotten those from the tax office. So I identified 26 or 28 active sewer bills that got put into RRAD instead of CRD, which is where they belong, or most of them should be in CRD. 2 of them should be in the DMRD, which is the Teague building and a lot down the street. And then Donna Hall reminded me to also check the zeros. So it's a total of 36 or 37 parcels. So anyway, this is essentially just to let you know that at the next meeting, I'm going to bring you that complete list with an application for public hearing, because that is a public hearing required. Cindy and I will take care of the mailing to the affected property owners. And then that would be intended for a public hearing in June.
Yes, and can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
I know I haven't been here for a week and I was extremely busy today, but Tara did give me the list to review. But I'm questioning the status of the R20s up by Sand Dam Road, Bonnet Road, all that area that were turned into RRAD. Are we gonna put any thought into those areas? Because the development criteria, even though they're non-conforming lots, the development criteria went from an R20 to a rural residential agricultural district. Just throwing it out there.
So,
And I was gonna look into that when I reviewed the list.
And just for whatever it's worth, Donna and I have been talking about those, because
Okay.
the thought was, and I think you even brought this up, that there might be access to Webster's,
Sewer system.
No.
right, but they don't have that.
No, they don't.
About no
If
capacity.
they're not
Yeah,
gonna,
that's it. Yeah.
if they're not gonna help that gentleman on the border, that doctor on the border, they're not gonna help anybody else.
Right, so based on that, my recommendation, and obviously you guys can talk about that when we finally accept it for public hearing, is that yes, it does create a nonconformity. They certainly have some existing rights as nonconforming properties, but if it doesn't have the water and sewer capacity, we really can't rezone it as if it did. So we always knew we weren't going to be able to solve every problem.
Mhm.
No, not, I don't even know if there was any issues in the 2 years. or almost 2
Mhm.
years,
Yeah,
You know, but
okay.
just a thought.
That's a good point as well. Yeah, no, but thank you. Yeah, thank you both for that.
So that'll be coming next meeting to accept for public hearing.
Thank you. Item C, ZEO memo.
Okay, so in my memo, I had brought up that I wanted to discuss,
Buildings on unaccepted streets.
Right. So I was tearing my hair out around 2 o'clock today, trying to find that history on Tewksbury, on Rose Landing Road. There's some issues that are coming up with unaccepted streets, lots, combining lots. I just got overwhelmed and I said, we'll do it next month. So that, but I
Okay.
do have one other thing, that I have to bring up, and I have copies of it. On St. Joseph's School, I had it all right here. On St. Joseph's School, you had asked for. Give me a minute, guys, I'm sorry, I can't find, I had all the work right here. And it's right here. So you had asked for. Where's the? letter? For the site distance on Reardon Road.
Yeah.
So here is the new map that they redid. It's 160 feet each side.
Thank you.
I saw the letter.
Sorry,
Thank you.
the ordinance says 275 or whatever his space is. Then I got a letter, an email from Greg Fogg right before I was leaving today. And his email is. He discussed it with Norm Tebow. And here is Norm's answer, so I just want to know if you guys are okay with that 160. Because that's what the condition says, because they want to do a Mylar. And they want to get the project going. So there's Norm Tebow's letter. Would you not? And this was all done after 1 o'clock today. Okay.
This came, yeah, but it came from Greg Blood, yeah.
You need to see the ordinance, everybody. Make copies of the ordinance if you need to see it.
So is this a stamped? Yeah, who is Norman?
He's the, Norm's an engineer.
Yeah.
I don't know how Norm got. I don't know if they're in business together, all these engineering firms, but this is Greg Claude
Okay,
that did the site design. for them.
so who did this?
Greg Claude. He sent it to me. And a reason why you just have a little section is because all I got was like 11 by 14 and you can't read it, so he said that he would just send this section to me.
So this is stamped.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
got a
this-
P
yeah.
stamp on.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have to ask because.
oh,
it's all-
yeah, yes,
Yeah, okay,
yeah, definitely, I
okay.
have the big thing, little big one someplace. And I thought, you know, sending me just this was really good, because now we can see it before I had to have a magnifying glass to see it.
I just don't, the two lines, if you're looking, sight line looking south is 160 feet. If this is drawn to scale. I don't know if it's the scale or not.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it from side to side.
But you know,
Isn't there a key that says whether it's to scale or not?
on a different part of the. We only have the top, like we have a cross
Yeah,
section.
we don't have the top. That's
what do you think, Brian?
He sent, because I couldn't get a big one on an 11x17. Tried it, but it came out 8x10 on 11x17 piece of paper.
Is it, does it, I mean, does it have, I mean. I'm not the engineer or does it have to do with the elevation? Is that why
Yeah, just
it doesn't
I
look?
think it's all.
it's just.
Right.
So if you look, all right, so this is what I'm seeing. If you look on the profile in the back, it says existing stone wall looking north. If you look on the first page, the stone wall is looking south. It's got a 2-foot high boulder, which I'm assuming is a stone wall. And there's vegetation looking north. So, it doesn't make much sense to me.
Is that they're removing 25 feet of vegetation.
No, but that, I'm sorry.
Sideline.
Those folders,
Yeah.
those folders are south of the of the driveway.
Yeah, isn't that?
They're
what
they're
we
to the
are?
left of the driveway on
Yeah,
the.
but it's saying- on the second, it's saying existing stone wall on the north side.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's what I don't understand.
Well, yeah.
Without seeing it,
There's a wall.
There is a, yeah,
well, then it's not called out on the first part. They're calling out the boulders on the first page.
Yeah.
They are, so they're showing a section through on the second page. This is the wall, and it goes uphill 160. And it goes the other direction, another.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
It's a cement wall on one side and
It's
it's the rock wall on the other.
Which rather, you know, it's another month if they come back, and talk to you about it, it's up to you, it's a month of delay.
I'm fine with it. Make the motion, we accept it. If it stands, when you say this.
Well, I just want to understand, so this is an ordinance.
You want the
So
ordinance?
there is a motion on the floor.
Oh, so sorry. Yeah.
That's to approve the driveway.
I'll second
With
that
these,
Here's the ordinance.
made by Mr. Krogel, seconded by Mr. Williams.
To approve what?
To approve the driveway with the.
Oh, okay. So if he wanted to see the
I think
ordinance.
160 because. this
Yeah,
is what
so
we
there
asked them
is,
to do.
so there is a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion, Mr. Santos?
I'm not sure why it's not 320 feet. Why isn't it total 160 plus 160? From 1 point all the way across. That's what this says. No, I'm just not following why it was limited to 160.
160 each way.
Because that's just left and right.
Yeah, left and right.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm
It's supposed to be 260 from in each
clear. From
direction.
each direction.
Well,
Okay, got
Right,
it.
so it's from the same.
75.
275.
Yeah.
I get, okay, so now that we see, well,
Right, so it's 160 feet coming out of the driveway both ways, to the left and to the
Got
right.
it. Yeah, I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
because the problem was that they were afraid people would not be able to see, it would not be clear coming out of there and it would cause a problem,
Yeah.
cause a problem.
Yeah, the ordinance does say from entering the town road. My other question is, do we have the right to overrule an ordinance like that?
No, I don't see how we do.
Well, we'll bring their recommendation to the selectmen when they.
Yeah.
When they apply for their driveway permit.
If we're okay with it, then it goes to the selectmen's office and they have the final say on it.
I just want to make sure I'm not up to date on the ASHTO requirements here, but. If it is 25 miles an hour, then it would make sense. It's just that our ordinance doesn't say anything
I
about
mean, if you
that.
want me to, I can look that up.
Yeah, I just think you need to recommend it to the selectmen that it says that in the ASHTO requirement.
Okay.
Yeah.
25 miles per hour,
Okay,
right? So that would be part of the, I guess, a condition of
okay.
the approval. That the ASHTO requirements do say that 6160 at a 25 mile an hour.
He posted?
Yeah, I think it is. Yes, it is,
Yeah,
because I
right,
had to slow down one day.
right when you get there, I think, yeah.
Remember that one.
Job.
It's like the
job.
Yeah.
gonna say, like, anybody goes by there
Yeah.
25 miles an hour.
Jane does.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a good newbie and do the speed limit.
So. What I'm hearing. Is perhaps a suggestion for Mr. Krogel to amend his motion to recommend forwarding this to the selectmen for a waiver.
If that's where it has to go.
Yeah, I think it does.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams, will you
Yeah,
second as
Yes, I-
amended? My only other question about this is, right, that this is an existing driveway,
Well, that's.
right?
another-
Like, I don't know, like, that adds an additional layer to this, right?
Yeah.
Like, that driveway existed.
It's there.
School buses used to go out there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Think, because they're,
Because of the language of the
But
ordinance.
it's existing in the.
It's
Should be a
it's
non,
been there.
should be a non, without regulation, I would think.
In that building, after it becomes apartment, then.
when it was school,
Yeah, right.
he asked them to fix it. I will check with Donna, who is not in this week, to see if they will need a driveway permit for that. When they get out there to do work.
Gotcha.
And I think the approval condition was to check the sightline, but not whether or not it failed or. if it
Hmm.
passed.
And Greg might even know that answer, you know, about them needing a permit anyway. So,
You know what's gonna happen, if it's not approved, they're just gonna go out on the main street anyways. I mean, nothing's gonna change in that respect, and that'll be just as dangerous coming around the bend.
Mhm.
Oh, it could be a one-way. Pulling in, just not pulling out.
Hmm.
Well, I think when the school was when the school was there, it was
One way.
one
One
way.
way, yeah.
Went in one way and went out
Yeah,
the
'cause
other
buses
way.
aren't pulling.
You
around
went in
back.
on Main Street
Yeah.
and came out on.
Came in on the other, yeah.
Still thinking that we go through with this because we made a condition to check it. Now there's a document that says
They
this.
checked it, yeah.
It is a different use other than a school on a new permit. So I still think we go through, allow the selectmen to
Yeah.
approve it the way we have it and move forward. I don't see any complication. with it.
Okay, so as amended, Mr. Krogel's motion is to forward this to the selectmen with a positive recommendation to grant the waiver
That 160 feet is.
and accept and accept as is, yeah, 150, yeah. 160 feet, which exceeds the 155, right?
Well, let's put it at the 155, because that's what this regulation stated. Is
Yeah, if that's
155.
correct, yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes will forward a favorable recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. You know, we'll take another action. Mr. Papaski looks deep in thought, so I'm gonna start with Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mike Google, yes.
Jane Stelzy, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
I'd say those, yes.
Dave Popowski, no. Still up in the air with this.
Ms. Orr?
Kaiser, yes.
Mr.
Kaiser,
Blackmer?
yes.
Yeah, gotcha, thank you. Mr. Blackmer?
Randy Blackmore, yes.
Joseph Brody Brown, yes.
They don't even have.
So
160, but they move it.
It shall be forwarded. Thank you for that, Cindy.
They don't even.
Thank you.
Don't want us to talk about it in
Item,
10 minutes.
was that in your menu? That was in your memo? That came from your memo?
That's it.
Okay, item 13, correspondence. We had Mr. Krogel.
Not that I was trying to eavesdrop you, but is there another question you have about this that we?
Well, it just says remove, they have to remove 25 feet of vegetation and vines to achieve the site. So this sight line ain't even achieved yet, just to be clear, what you guys just voted on, it was. They don't have 160 feet.
They don't have 30 feet.
No, but I thought.
Yeah, so we
did
put
it
at
once
155 was our
So that it would be,
motion.
that's the way it was supposed to be done. They said they were gonna clear it open and make it wider.
And that's what they got that. in the-
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure why they put that there. Because that's an uphill portion of it too.
it just,
But
the vegetation, so if you got vegetation, right?
Yeah.
It's not cleared, how are they saying they got 160 feet? If they haven't cleared it yet,
Well, because they have a measuring thing.
okay.
Okay, but the,
All right.
but the original main concern of it
That's
was-
already voted on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Mr. Kroger, let's. Tell Mr. Kroger what I thought.
Yeah, and I get this.
Great.
But the original, but was not,
I was, I was.
not the original main concern with this, the sightline south? When they were discussing this, the cars coming down the hill,
Yeah,
that's what the issue was. They're just checking out right at.
Excellent. Point of order, we've already voted, so. Item 13, correspondence, Town of Dudley, we received notice of a public hearing, as well as 3 notices of public hearings from the Town of Webster. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none. Item 14, signing of Mylar. We have none, I believe, Cindy.
This month.
Item 15, ZBA review, the CEO ZBA memo, which included some fascinating legal documents and all that on the auto center. Any
And he is going to the zoning board of appeals and speaking next month. They want to see him. Do they think it's time that some progress has been made? But I think if anybody's driven by Linehouse Road, I always have to add that they're doing a great job on those 2 houses across the street.
Yeah, it does look good.
it looks a whole lot better than it did, but God, they've got a lot of work
Yes.
still to do. Oh, my God.
And then item 15B, ZBA minutes, again. A busy meeting for the first time in quite some time, I would say. Any questions or comments on that? Item 16, citizens' comments. I see none in the Zoom. I see none here. Item 17, commissioners' comments.
I do have a question.
Mr. Krogel.
It doesn't have to do with that. I'm just curious about the house they are building on Wilhelm Pond on Thompson Road. Next to Rollies.
$1 million house.
Well, close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close enough.
I've never seen anything about it anyway.
Well, Marla and I have been down there, and Marla for wetlands, myself for the stone walls. Mostly it was her wetlands, and ironically, I did pass by it this morning going to a site visit. And I saw it was really being developed.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything from Marla as to any additional problems, so.
I'm just, because I'm going too fast to really see it.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
You can't look down now.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's-
I've been
yeah,
down there,
it's right.
yes, yeah. I've been down.
I saw it from the other side of the lake one time and I didn't have my binoculars with me,
Yeah.
so.
And these gentlemen that owns the land across the street that he developed over the trees.
Cleared it out, yeah, but what's he putting there?
Leave, yeah, said leave it.
What's he wanna do in there, do you know?
Oh, I had some rumors, so people are keeping me updated.
Nothing you can say yet.
So it happens.
Thank you, Mr. Krogel. Mr. Paplowski.
So I just wanted to comment, you know, this, when I first came on the board, we started working with the subdivision regulations and it passed tonight. With very little fanfare, but I think that there was a lot of blood, sweat and tears for new members. I was a new member when I came into it. There's members who aren't here anymore who are part of it, you know, so I think that it needed some fanfare and thank you to everyone, because there was a lot of late nights, a lot of discussion, a lot of good feedback and a lot of hard work by everyone, so I think it needs to be,
Thank you.
it needs to be, you know, not just went over.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was initiation by
I need to
fire.
be in the mood, so you guys did a good job, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a lot of hard work, and everyone, you know.
Yeah.
The good, bad and the ugly.
exactly,
I
yeah.
mean, I'll
Thank you,
dovetail
Mr.
on that. I
Paplowski.
mean, that it was a really discursive and, deliberative process. It was the commission exactly working the way a commission is supposed to work, which is discussing and coming to consensus.
Yeah.
Even when things occasionally got heated.
Mhm.
But I think the result is something, everybody gave something, everybody got something, and we should all be happy.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Paplowski. Thank you, Tara. Any other commissioners' comments? Okay, I just want to have the last one. I just want to publicly, on behalf of the commission, extend my condolences to Cindy. And to congratulate Ms. Orr
Yeah.
on the new addition to her family.
Congratulations, Kai.
Congratulations. And
Thank you.
of course, and Mr. Poplawski stole my thunder, but I was gonna congratulate and thank everyone for really a tremendous effort on improving our subdivision regulations. So thank you.
I wanted John B to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Item 18, next meeting, we do have a subcommittee meeting on Wednesday, April 26th at 7 p.m.
And that's here, right? It's.
No.
No, I think that is only on Zoom. That is an error. That is,
I will try, I will not be here, but I'm gonna try and get on from my location because I've done
Cindy.
homework on this.
Yeah, I think something like that should be, in person.
It says it's gonna be.
I thought it was gonna be there too,
So.
because I actually did door to door on this and I am gonna try to get on even though I won't be.
Ray, when you say it says that says that here, it doesn't say it on the agenda, does it? Because if it does, that's.
No, but it says it on number 18.
right. I mean, my understanding from the original discussion last month was that people wanted to have it as a Zoom meeting.
Maybe so.
Maybe I thought we were supposed to do both.
As far as I know, I concur with the chair, that discussion was that it was gonna be a Zoom meeting. Similar with all the other sort of working group and discussion group stuff that you guys have done.
You have to get rid of those because that goes on. You might get rid of them, just add them in.
Okay.
So, I do have another one that I probably will be bringing to that meeting. Hopefully I'm gonna go out there tomorrow to talk to the liquor store owner. But I understand that there is a bike club behind the liquor store on Quantic Road.
What?
Fight club. So she said fight club at first and I was getting excited.
Motorcycle. Motorcycle.
Not cyclists.
So what I would suggest is that
Quantic Road, I always get those two roads mixed
Okay, I was
up.
gonna say Aquatic Road. I think I would know about
Liquor
that.
store behind Quantic Road. I got the call before I had to leave last week. Told her I would look at it this week and, but from what I understand, they're riding at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Great. Sounds wonderful. So that'll be part of the meeting. We will hold that.
No, motorcycles.
That's okay. We will hold that first meeting on Zoom, because that
That's
is
what's
what's posted as the agenda. And of course, it, is within the purview of the committee to make decisions about their meetings. So, Mr.
What are we supposed to actually be looking for pertaining to this subcommittee meeting coming up on Wednesday?
Well,
What are we attempting to do?
well, one of the things that I was going to do, I was going to look at other town regulations and see if they do regulate recreational activities on private property. So that's where I was gonna start bringing that information to you Wednesday night.
Well, I know you told me that you had checked on the state as far as regulations going for paintball, and there's nothing, yeah.
You can't say it can regulate something.
And, not to add.
That is all part of the discussion of that subcommittee meeting on Wednesday, April 26th at 7 p.m. on
Okay,
Zoom.
so I have another thing to discuss with them then.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Yes, but before that, I would point out that our next regular meeting of this commission is on May 22nd of 2023 at 7 p.m. here and on Zoom. Ms. Salsi has moved to adjourn. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8:57 p.m. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Good night and good luck.
I'm not thrilled, but I need to be here because of the homework that I've done. My daughter is not.